Hey guys, it's Canadian Off-Road 4x4 here with you. It's Thursday morning, about 7:45 in the morning, and today I'm going to bring you a little cooler comparison slash testing. So I have two Powerchill Coleman coolers, both the same size, just different, I guess, generations maybe, or two different styles. But I think one's the newer style, one's an older style. But so what the comparison I'm going to do today for you guys is how spray foaming your lid compares to doing a full like insulation, reflective insulation to your cooler versus just spray foaming your lid and adding latches to the coolers as well. So, and I guess at the same time I also have foam tape added around the edge. So, but it's more or less to test insulation versus the spray foam, but to make it kind of even in comparison, I have foam tape on both and I have latches on both. So I just recently did the latches and to keep the lid a little more snug, and obviously for when you spray foam it would help a lot more too. So here's the coolers now. So what I'm gonna put in them for this comparison test. So on this one, here's the insulation one, obviously. So I've got a piece of insulation on the bottom, and then I froze a little bowl of ice, so I have like a big chunk of ice to kind of compare the melting stage. And then I got a big ice pack in there. That's an ice pack. This is an ice pack, reusable, the Canadian Chill. Honestly, this thing is probably amazing. I mean, it is a little big, but use one of these and it'll stay frozen for days. So I got that. So I got insulation on the bottom, those two on the bottom to simulate how I use my coolers. I always put one or two ice packs or bottles of frozen water on the bottom as like a bottom base to keep everything nice and cold. And then I separate it with my other insulation I have here, and then I'm gonna throw in even distributedly throw in all these ice packs and maybe throw a couple blocks of ice in there too, just to kind of add a little bit more. So, and for this one, there's no insulation at all, nothing on the lids, nothing on the bottom, just the ice pack and the block of ice again. And then all I'm going to use is a piece of the reflective just to separate the two, just so it simulates me using the cooler again. So just a quick little background info from when I sprayed this. I drilled 3 holes on each side of the lid, and what I noticed was this actually had some insulation already put into it. So I didn't really get a ton of spray foam inside of it, but I got enough. I only did 1 hole at the beginning, but I realized that there was insulation already in it. So I drilled 5 more holes, and at the same time I read about that you could actually get warping if you don't do it right. And honestly, I think I kind of did, because if I go to close this lid, it won't fully close. But at the same time, the reason why it won't fully close is because the foam tape around here. I got the thinnest foam tape I could, and it still won't close because, I mean, it's just using a piece of plastic in here to hold. So that's why I got the latches idea. So, and to make it fair, obviously, right, both of them have latches. But, so there's that. I didn't spray, like I said, I didn't spray a ton of foam inside the lid, but I did 6 holes and filled it up as best I could. And we'll see how it fends off against the two. Inside my house, I'm doing it inside my house because outside the temperature cools down quite a bit. So inside my house is this nice steady temp, and between here it's about 22 degrees Celsius to 25. So I think that's around what, the 80s mark, 80s Fahrenheit, I think. So I want to keep a steady temp in here. And I mean, in the end, I mean, the biggest thing is there's no reflective, or there's no sun hitting it. Same time, I don't care to put it in the sun, because why do I want my coolers in the sun? You want to keep them in shade all the time. So why should I put them in the sun just to compare tests? because in no real world are you going to put your coolers out in the plain old hot sun instead of the shade that you may have or create. So I've got it inside my house. It's going to be a steady temperature. It might cool off a bit, but not by much, or it might get hotter. It's hard to say. So we're going to put these in here, and then I will update you guys every 24 hours how these two coolers are comparing to holding the ice packs cool and how long the ice lasts. Basically, what I'm going to go based off of is when I think either the ice packs all go down to nothing, or when that block of ice on the bottom is completely gone. That way it kind of shows me how long or how much heat is actually getting in it. And I will open the lid time to time as well to simulate usage, of course, just so it doesn't just sit there with the lids closed all day. I mean, because when you don't open your cooler at all, obviously it stays cooler, right? But when you open that lid, that's when you expose the air and heat. So I'll throw these in, I'll show you guys the rest, and then I'll update you guys every 24 hours. Okay guys, so quick, this one will have no insulation at all, nothing on lid, just latches, thicker foam tape actually, because this one wasn't foaming right, so I had actually trimmed the foam at the same time. So this one has thicker foam tape, latches, and this is all spray foamed in. I mean, it's kind of actually bulging out in here, so you can actually kind of see how it works. Then I've got the big Canadian chill on the bottom, the block of ice, it's just random ice pack. I've got a 12 cube ices in there, the Coleman chillers, the random ice pack, and another ice pack in here. So we'll close this one up, close that up there, close that up there. Okay, and then this one, same thing, block of ice, Canadian chill on the bottom, 2 Arctic ices, and just one Coleman chiller in there, just to kind of even out the playing field kind of thing, right? So, and then 12 blocks of ice or whatever those are there too. And then insulated on the top here, twice actually. I put 2 pieces up here because I realized how exposed the lid can be. And then insulation on the bottom, and then this is separating the block of ice on the bottom there for this, and then this will wrap up like this, so it kind of, when you open up the cooler, it's not showing all the heat. And then we'll latch this one up. They only had brass available, so I had no choice but to go brass. And then I'll put my little other piece of insulation on here too. I mean, this simulates total use. I mean, even in the shade, I would have it in there. So it's all coming down to surrounding temps, so we'll see if that actually does anything too. So I'll update you guys every 24 hours. See you then. Hey guys, so it's been a little over, let's say, so it's Thursday morning we started, so Friday morning, Saturday morning, and now it's Sunday morning. So it's been about 3 days, maybe a little bit more, I guess. So let's go check the progress again and see how these are doing. So from what you guys saw in the other videos, I just obviously fast forward through all those because you didn't need to see me every second just going through them. So it looks like the cooler with just the spray foam lid. This is kind of cold. This is getting liquidy. This isn't even cold really anymore. This one is just kind of cold again, but not really much. Still kind of frozen in the middle. Arctic ice, kind of cold. You know, cold enough, you know, you'd feel it. That's about it. Underneath is really wet. Let's see here. I'm just gonna put that on the lid there. So this is getting down there quite a bit. I mean, you can see it's running water pretty good there, right? So she's melting quite a bit. She's still got a decent amount there, but definitely probably less than half on it. Ice pack down here is still quite frozen. So I might give it one more day with this just to see. I don't plan on running this crazy amount because of due to time, but I also want to just kind of see how the results are. So we'll put all these back in here just to kind of fill it again. So that's this one here with the latches and the spray foam lid. So it does look like the spray foam lid does something for them, but nothing too crazy. I mean, I don't have a completely stock Powerchill cooler, I guess, if you want to call it stock, I guess. You know, this is modded, obviously, so we'll move this forward. So like I said, obviously these are double insulated. I have to fix the taping there, and then this is wrapped in insulation. So this kind of cold. Actually probably feels a little cooler than or a little warmer than the other one. Kind of frozen still, not too bad. More than the other Coleman. You can still see it sweating there a bit. This one definitely a little bit colder for sure. A little moist there too. And then if we take this off, I'll just put that on top of this, my baggie. So this frozen like crazy. Handful of water at the bottom. This actually looks a lot thicker than the other one for sure. I'm trying to hold it, it's very slippery. Obviously still melting quite a bit, but definitely looks a lot thicker, but also it's kind of offset as you can see there, but it definitely looks like it still has a lot more than the other one. So, but at the end, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna just pull all these out, and then I'm gonna put whatever's left side by side, and you guys can see how the difference is between them. But so far it looks like the insulation is keeping everything a lot cooler for sure. I mean, even like the fact that this is on the bottom, you know, especially sometimes when you have your cooler sitting outside, you think about it, it's sitting on the base or wherever it is, right? Like it's not in midair, obviously, or anything like that. So it's sitting on heat. So like the bottom of it will definitely get warm, and I don't have any insulation down there. I just have a like a cap for this, right? So like this just goes over top and keeps everything reflecting that way. So I mean, there's nothing on the bottom obviously at all. You can just see that there. It's just sitting on the plastic on the bottom, so that's why I put an insulation on the bottom. Then I put the ice packs, so it kind of separates the heat from there. Excuse me, and keeps it kind of cool. So we're gonna give these one more day. I've been opening them up and having the lid open for say about 5 to 10 seconds, just kind of let the air in or whatever to simulate it. In my house has been steady of 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, which is about what, 70s, 75s, I think it's around that portion there. So like I said at the beginning, I wanted to keep it in a steady temperature just to see the progress, because I don't want it to be 25 during the day Celsius, and then 8 at night, like it is right now for our weather. So I mean, I've lost the heat wave that we used to have the other week or two when it was like 80s and 90s and whatnot. So we're just gonna do it in here still. And like I said, you'll be able to tell a difference still because the insulation is keeping everything contained more versus just a spray foam lid. So, but we'll talk about the rest tomorrow and we'll go from there, guys. Okay, guys, so this is gonna be pretty much the end of the testing. So what we're gonna do is empty out these coolers and see the progression of them. So like just before, this one is pretty much like it's kind of cold, but that's probably just from the surroundings. Not much left on that one. Kind of cold, not too much, pretty much nothing left out of it if like for useful. Water, kind of a little chilly. This frozen in the center, still kind of moist, a little bit colder than the rest. So let's get to this. This is like soaked obviously, so I gotta be careful here. So there's the progress of what another 24 hours looks like. She's pretty much done. So and then big ice pack here, she's getting, you can see the water kind of running around in there. Definitely still frozen, so I mean, like, that gives you an idea on how good these ice packs are. And like, these ice packs were only like $7 Canadian, so probably like $5 American, I would say. So that's the progress of that one. So I'll move that there. Let's check the insulator. So for the insulator, kind of colder-ish, not much. The other Arctic ice, decently cold too. My Coleman chiller here, and not too bad either. I'm just putting these against my arm to see, and they're still a bit colder. Let's just put that on top of there. So let's check out this. So there's definitely a lot of water in there. Definitely a little bit colder. Definitely looks a little bit runny there, but still not too horrible. So I mean, it's not bad. And then here's the progress of this one. Not too bad at all. Kind of definitely a little bit more, so you can see that. And then that one. So I'm going to pull these both out, and then we'll get a little bit more side by side of them, and then we'll talk about the progression of it. Okay guys, so we're in the kitchen. So this one is the spray foam lid. This one is the insulator. So as you can see, there's quite a difference there. I mean, just alone, like, oh, sorry here, that's kind of the offset there, so I'll kind of put it to the thinner side here. Don't want to feel like it's cheating or something. I mean, this didn't fully shape around the lid for some reason, but same time, so like even there's a thicker one side to it. I mean, this is even shorter already. So I'd say this probably has at least 12 hours maybe on it or so. I mean, because this one was decently big yesterday, but it seems like she's shrinking a little bit faster because obviously the ice packs are not quite frozen anymore or cold either, so that's not helping their cause. But this one, you can definitely see kind of the difference on how this one's holding up, and especially being at the bottom of a cooler too. I mean, like I said, I don't want to put this directly in the sun because no man or woman would ever leave their coolers in direct sunlight. I mean, it is a great test to do, but in reality, you will never be putting your cooler in the sunlight. You always want to try and keep it in shade or cool areas or whatever. And like I said, for me, the temperatures are 25 Celsius during the day, 20 Celsius, and then there's times where it drops down to like 8 degrees. So I didn't want to do it outside. So I wanted to do it inside, so it's a steady 20 to 24 degrees, so it's pretty average temp. So overall, I mean, this pretty much shows for itself. I mean, you guys can always comment and judge me on this. I mean, I'm doing the same exact cooler. One's just filled with expandable foam. The other one is completely insulated. So because the reason I'm doing this is because I see a lot of people just spray foam the lid and call her quits. I'm like, why wouldn't you want to put some insulation in there too? I was like, the insulation works great. I mean, I've used this insulation method since last year when I went to Moab, Utah for in August. So it was like 40 some degrees there, or 90 to 100 Fahrenheit. So I mean, it withstand it pretty well, right? So the foam that I used was this. So it was the Great Stuff. It was one of these guys on the YouTube videos that I watched, and I've seen actually quite a few more people use this Great Stuff. So you just shake it up real good and then stick the nozzle in there. I mean, this nozzle works pretty good too. But what I did notice before with the the coolers that I'm using, they actually have some insulation in the lids. So, I mean, in some ways you don't have to use that stuff for these coolers at least, but it doesn't hurt at the same time. At first, I only drilled one hole, but then I read that you can actually warp your lid. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna drill a few more holes to kind of let it breathe and then spray foam a little bit more. But I couldn't spray too much without it just oozing out right away. So I don't know if my holes weren't big enough or there's just actually that much insulation in these lids. So, but overall, I hope this kind of shows you guys what's the difference between spray foaming just your lid and then fully insulating your cooler. I mean, like I said, I've doubled my insulation a little bit, but people always talk about losing space and then taking up room or this or that. If you do it right, it's not gonna take up that much more space. The reason like it takes up space is because some people actually fully like wrap up insulation. So I'll show you what I've got, what I've done here. Sorry. So what I do, I insulate the lid. I just did one piece at one time, but I realized the lid's more important, so I just did a double layer for this year. You have at least one piece so you can separate, or one for the bottom. You can even have another piece if you want, so you can separate that from ice packs as well, but one for the bottom so it insulates the bottom, obviously. Put that on your bottom. It doesn't take up much space. I mean, this is like not even like 1/8 inch thick. I mean, it squishes down too, right? So, and then what I did, I just kind of cut like the right average width of the cooler, and then I just stick the piece in and out. I just made it a little bit longer so that when you close the lid, it wraps up over it, right? So like it doesn't take up much more room. I mean, like, yeah, you're sacrificing, I can't even say how much you'd be sacrificing because this stuff is so thin. So in my opinion, I would probably do both, but at the same time, it depends on if you want holes drilled into your cooler or if you care enough to buy that stuff. I mean, like for these two coolers, I mean, I really didn't have to buy it. So I would personally just insulate it. The real question would be for me is, does insulating the inside do more, or is it better to insulate inside and out? I mean, the only downfall to insulating the outside is because it's a little more difficult to make a shield for it, and you also have to be able to remove it, or unless you want to make it like super tight around it so you run it all year round with it. But I made mine just like as a cap, and I made 2 holes on the top so I can use zip ties. So I mean, you do what you want, right? So, but in my opinion, guys, if you're gonna bulletproof and weatherproof your coolers, do the latching, do some foam tape. If you're gonna do the foam tape, I'd probably do the latches with it, because I mean, like I said, for these lids, it's just this and a little plastic tab. It doesn't really clamp down or anything. So, and I mean, like the $500-600 coolers also use clamps too, or locks and stuff. So I would definitely do those, and then so it gives you a better seal around here as well. So, and I mean, this will squish it down too, so then it's really snug in there. And then insulate your lid. And I mean, if anything, don't have to cut a full piece like this. Just cut up some chunks. Separate everything. I mean, like these work great for separating ice packs from food and whatever else, because you don't want your ice packs directly on your food or drinks, depending on the ice pack, of course. I mean, Arctic ice is meant to chill. The Coleman chillers are, but like these big ice packs are meant to just freeze your whole cooler, so to speak, right? So let me know what you guys think of this. I mean, I'm always open for opinions and different methods. I mean, I just thought about this because I've seen so many videos out there that people just spray foam their lid and call it quits. I'm like, yeah, but you know, it does some, but not enough that you would care to call it good. I mean, you gotta probably add some insulation to it, especially if you're running the cheaper coolers. It doesn't hurt to, and it doesn't take up that much time or space. I mean, and it's pretty cheap too, and very effective. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna get to work now, so we'll see you later.